everybody, and happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. We don't have to worry about Mother's Day anymore. Our mamas are dead. We're orphans. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go out and buy gas station flowers.
Mhm. Yeah, we used to always buy my mother her hanging baskets and stuff like that. I mean, whatever. But anyways, don't have to worry about that anymore, that's for sure. So welcome everybody, and I hope if you're a mother, you're having a nice day, that your children are doing something nice for you. But anyways, okay, that looks like that's working all right. All right, so we're cooking with gas. So let's see who is here joining us so far. So let's see, lots of people have come in. Barb was number one, beat out Russ by several. And Nina is here, and Barbara from England. And she says it's been a nice, beautiful, hot, sunny day there. Julie's here. Hi, Julie. And Russ, of course, is here, along with aliens from outer space. I'm not sure who he's referring to, but let's not point fingers. Tamala is here, and Pace is here. Judy L.
Did you miss
is here.
CC Farmer?
Did I miss CC? Oh, Caroline. Yes, I missed Caroline. Sorry, Caroline. Caroline is here. Mona is here. Faith is here. Jeannie. Terry's here. Terry's a virgin. Virgin Live. Never been on a live before, so welcome, Terry. And Gloria is here. And Karen B is here. Colleen is here. And Dana is here. And Joanne G is here. So I'm surprised. I mean, a lot of you don't have plans. And Candace. Candace is here too. Well, what's the matter? Your children all abandoned you? They don't love you anymore. Oh, well, just write them out of the will. That's what I tell my nephew and niece all the time. But they don't believe me. They think, well, there's probably nothing there anyways. That's my plan. I'm taking it with me, or I'm going to spend it all before you get it. Jeannie is here, not to be confused with Jeannie. There's Jean E and Jean Nee.
Or Jeannie E.
Yeah, well, that's Jeannie. That's our Jeannie. Yeah, okay. Cloud the issue with five. Yeah. Beverly's here. She says, I love armchair travel, so I'll be watching for videos. Okay, good. Judy Hebert is here. And, oh, Candace says, no kids home today. Oh, okay. And Pamela's from Minnesota is here. And Dana is going to her son's for dinner tonight. So, lots of fun for everyone. Okay, so let's talk about, besides Mother's Day, let's talk about what I've been working on. So I'm doing an experimental piece, and I'm actually doing a video series. If I get this to come up on the screen, there it is. And here you go. So this is a combination of several different embroidery files that I'm using. So the base at the back is a landscape that's done in tiles, and I think it's a designs by Juju. And then I decided that I was going to embroider some gnomes on this to make a little scene. And I'm sort of using sunflowers as my theme because the guys in the middle have a little sunflower beside them. And the ones in the basket have some flowers in their basket. So this is the third row. There are two more rows that go up above this. And so I've got some ideas for those as well. But as I said, it's a combination of different techniques of doing like tiles in your hoop, basic embroidery, and then the sunflower at the very top, that's applique on top of it all. So I'm kind of building it as I go along. I'm really not sure what the end product's going to look like. I had a plan, but it didn't really, I had to vary from it because I kind of, what?
No, I turned around to look at what it really looks like.
Well, that's what it really looks like.
No, I know that. I just said it looks, I was going to say it looks really good. And then I looked at it there and it looks really good over there too. So
yeah, well, it's coming along. It's coming along. So as I said, I'm making this into a video to show you how you can, you can create something unique by taking existing projects that may be on, a site for machine embroidery and do something with it. So we'll see how this all works out. afterwards. So that won't happen though until after we come back, obviously, from Holland, the Netherlands. So Walter, what have you been working on?
Not much. I've been planning what we're doing when we go away.
Oh yeah.
I mean, sewing wise, I haven't really done anything for the last week or so.
No, well, anyways, yeah, he's been busy double checking our plans
Buying tickets.
and buying tickets for various things. We're going to talk about all of that in a few minutes, but let's see. A few people came in while we were talking. Lydia's here. Hi, Lydia. And Suzanne is here. Hi, Suzanne. So, yeah, that's what I've been up to. So, what's coming up? Well, Sewing with Stephen is not. There will not be a Sewing with Stephen for the next couple of weeks. The next one will be on Wednesday, May the 28th. We come back on Tuesday, May the 27th.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we're leaving tomorrow. The limo comes and picks us up at what time? 5:15?
I have to double check. I think it's 5:15.
Okay, 5:15 to take us to the airport, and our flight goes out at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, our time, on Air Canada. And so then we get to the Netherlands at the airport in Amsterdam at what time?
Well, scheduled for 11, depending on how.
Yeah. The worst
11 a.m.
Yeah. The worst part about flying for me is it's not the flying. Once I'm in the plane and we're up, I'm okay. It is the stupid airports. It's going through security. It's checking your damn bags. And whether or not your plane is on schedule or whether it's going to be delayed, you know, you always go in there and your heart is in your throat as you look up at the board and see, do I still have a flight? Kind of a thing. Because you know what airlines are like these days. Completely not dependable at all. So anyways, we're going to talk a little bit more about what we're planning to do in a little bit more detail. We talked a little bit about it yesterday on So Chatty. No, Friday on So Chatty. Yesterday was Saturday. I'm starting to mix up my days already and we haven't got out of here. So we'll come back to that. But meanwhile, speaking of So Chatty, what we did this week was we kind of looked extensively. It was kind of a long one. We had a lot to say about, from the point of view of someone who's going to throw or host a retreat, what they really need to take into consideration so that their participants have a really good time. Because lately I've been hearing in my own experiences of that, there are those that are putting together retreats only as a money-making thing. And you know,
yeah, it is a money-making
thing. It is a money-making thing.
But I mean, if you're going to a retreat, you expect to get something
for your money.
Yeah.
And
rather than just going to a place and so.
Yeah. And I think some places, especially these ones that seem to be doing them as cruises now, those, in my opinion, I've never been on a quilting cruise, and I never intend to go on a quilting cruise because they're more expensive than a regular cruise. We've been on lots of cruises, like 11 cruises in our time, and on a variety of different lines and ships. And it looks to me like these places, which are usually businesses or business-based, are doing it simply for the money. And
yeah, a lot of theme cruises that you take. We've been on a few theme cruises, and they were always more expensive.
They're more expensive too.
Regular cruises, well, but they weren't on like the quilting cruises are on a regularly scheduled cruise.
Yeah,
and if you take the regularly scheduled cruise, you're paying less, a lot less, sometimes half.
Yeah.
What you would pay.
But we did talk about that extensively on Friday, so we're not going over that again.
No.
But one thing is this, I've heard people say, oh, they've always wanted to go on a cruise, and they think going on a quilting cruise is the best way to do it. In my opinion, it is not. That is not a good introduction to cruising. If you really want to go on a cruise, then figure out what you want to do when you're on a cruise. Do you want to go and go on excursions, see places that you're going to go to that you may never have gone to before? Is the ship itself a destination? Because for some people, especially ones who go on multiple cruises in time, after a while, they start to go on the cruises simply because it's a floating hotel. It's a resort. So they like it for that. In my opinion, if it's your first time on a cruise, I don't recommend doing it as a quilting cruise. I mean, down the road, if you want to do something like that, sure, fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of activities on the ship, even when it's a day at sea, that you can do to occupy your
Yeah,
time
there's tons.
without necessarily having to go quilt. So,
Yeah,
I mean, you might get on the cruise, especially if it's your first time, get on the cruise, and then you've already signed up for this quilting thing, and then you find out yourselves that, maybe I would have wanted to do this on
yeah,
that day instead of quilting. So,
yeah, because, it's kind of an expensive kind of retreat. If you're going because you want to go on a retreat, I would suggest a land-based retreat. A regular retreat is more bang for your buck than a quilting one. But that's just my opinion. Yours may differ, and whatever floats your boat,
I
so to
mean,
speak.
everybody's different on what they like to do. Like, I mean, some people I know like to go on a trip and just go lay on a beach somewhere in the Caribbean
Yeah,
for a week and they're happy.
yeah.
Whereas Steve and I don't like those kind of
No, no.
trips.
I like to
We
see
like
things
to
and do
see
things.
things and do things.
I like
So,
to come home exhausted. That's my idea of an ideal vacation. Coming home tired. Yep, means you did a lot, and you saw a lot, and you had a good time. Hi Lily. Lily's here. Um, but anyways, what we talked about on that, if you haven't seen it yet, it's a long video. Okay, it's runs about an hour and 40 minutes. One of our longest ones yet. But we had a lot to say. Um, about if we were going to do a retreat, and we have, but mine have been virtual. But if we were going to do an in-person retreat, all the things that I would want to make sure were in place in order that the people that came to it had a good time. Retreats are not about the host. It isn't the time for the host, in my opinion, to catch up on their sewing. The host has a very important job. It's to make sure all of the guests, the paying customers, are getting their money's worth. They're having a good time. You troubleshoot if there's any problems. You make sure people are happy. That's your job. When I do the virtual retreat, I don't sew. You know that. I am busy monitoring things, keeping things organized, making sure nobody's having a technical problem, all of that kind of thing. And although that's a virtual retreat, that isn't any different than if it was an in-person retreat at a location. That's your job. But what I'm hearing lately from some people who have been on various retreats, whether they be cruise retreats or regular ones, and that they felt disappointed in certain areas. So that's why we put all of that together. Um, you know, and if you've never been to a retreat, you might want to watch that. And if you've been to retreat, you might want to see if we're talking off the, we're blowing hot air up your skirt, or, and I don't think we are, because that's not our intent, but, what you may have experienced as well. Colleen says, I thought So Chatty was very balanced observation of what to expect and what I would want for a retreat. My own experience was lovely, but I learned I'd rather stay home. Yeah, okay. And Jude says, great eye-opening video on retreat. Yeah. Well, we've been to a few retreats.
yeah, I know it's
too,
great
so
to sew with a bunch of other people and
yeah,
collaborate live in person. But then on the other hand, you still have to lug all your stuff there and everything else. And even if sewing machines are provided for you, then you still have, there's always something that you have to bring.
yeah.
Whereas if you sew at home, everything's there.
Everything's there, yeah. Hilchen is here. Hello, Hilchen. And we'll wave at you from the Netherlands, because since you're in Germany. We'll just stand at the border and go, hi, Hilchen, Hilchen. Well, I hope I'm saying your name right. Anyways, yeah, that was on So Chatty. What's coming up on So Chatty? Well, there won't be a So Chatty for a couple of weeks. And we are going to do that, deconstruct my dragon bag and learn how to do it right with Walter at one point. And of course, what I just showed you earlier, we'll be doing that too. And I'm sure we'll come up with some other ideas too. Okay, so there'll only be one. Well, I shouldn't say there'll only be one video this week on the channel, but one regular video, and that's my vlog tomorrow. That will go up as usual, since we don't leave until later in the day, and I always put that up in the morning. So that will be there. But the other videos and everything that are coming up, I have no idea what you're going to see. Ideally, if I have an internet connection, I would like to post maybe one video. They won't be all that long, but one video every day on the trip. And some of those days we might do a live or two. I have all my equipment set up to be able to do this because I'm not taking my laptop with me. So I've had to set up my phone and my iPad so that I know how to get everything together. And I think I've got it down for that. Well, I've done it before, but you know, when you don't do it on a daily basis with that equipment, I want to double check, and YouTube's always changing things. So anyways, I think I'm prepared for all of that. It'll just depend on what we have for technology as far as internet.
Yeah, Wi-Fi. We have personal Wi-Fi connections on our phones when we'll be there.
Yeah.
But still, we don't know the speed and everything. But I have read that the internet connections are quite good in the Netherlands. So hopefully they are.
Well, we're not going to a third world country. So, you know, I am sure things, even in a third world country, they have good internet connection. They must, because where scammers come from.
We did videos one time when we were from Australia.
Yeah.
And and the first few times we went, their internet connections were not great.
Oh, they were slow. God, for a 20-minute video to get it up onto YouTube, and I'm not talking about a live, I'm talking about like getting it to YouTube, would take overnight in some cases. It was incredibly slow, but the last time we were in Australia, things were much, much better. And I'm pretty sure that in the Netherlands, things will be fine there as well. They're fairly high tech in the Netherlands, you know, well, Europe in general.
Europe, yeah.
So we will be connecting though using our phones. We bought eSIMs from Vodafone, and that was, why did we buy from them?
Well, I read that they're one of the two tops for the Netherlands. There's another one that is top, but Vodafone was readily available for the eSIM. So I thought, okay, well, let's go with them. So it sounds okay. And it was really easy to install.
Yeah.
So.
When the last time we were down in the States, last couple times, we got Jethro cards.
Which was, I forget which company that is.
Isn't that, what's the one that everybody...
Well, I can't remember what the company is. It's a big company.
I'm trying to think. It's on the tip of my tongue and I can't
Anyway,
think
so yeah, so they worked for us, except in certain areas you hit dead zones.
Yeah.
For that.
But it was a little bit tricky getting it set up.
Yeah, it was. In fact, I had trouble on my phone and I couldn't get it. And eventually they gave me a refund. So
yeah, but the Vodafone, whoa, we had it up and connected. We're not activated yet because we don't activate it till we get over there. But as far as it all set up and it's on our phone now and there's a number for it and the whole bit. Now we just got data. We didn't get voice.
A phone number.
Like
I mean, worst comes to worst, if we wanted to make a phone call or something like that, we can switch to our regular service
roaming.
For roaming, but they charge you quite a bit every day. So
yeah, like about $13 Canadian
16.
dollars. Is it $16 Canadian a day? That's why we're not using it. The Vodafone was much better. We got how many gigs? 15?
15 gigs for the 15 days that we're going.
Yeah, for what was it? 25 euros, wasn't it?
It was 25 euros, which was $40 Canadian.
$40 Canadian. So that's not too bad. I mean, probably won't use a lot of the data anyways, because as far as YouTube or the videos for YouTube and that, I'll go through the hotel's Wi-Fi system. I won't be doing it through the data on.
But it's nice to have when you're
just in case
out on the street.
Yeah,
and you don't have to always rely on Wi-Fi service. So.
No, and also if we need to tap into Google Maps or something like that, you know, we'll be able to do that. Okay, so while we were talking, Sherry arrived. Hi, Sherry, and Vicky's here. Hi, Vicky. So anyways, that's the plan when it comes to what we're going to do for videos. So what I suggest, since we will be, how many hours difference? Is it 7?
I think it's 6.
6 hours difference to Eastern time here. For us, there's 6 hours in the future ahead. So yeah, just if you click on the bell, you know, you've heard everybody talk about that. Everybody knows it. Click on the bell and then click on the thing that says you'll get all notifications. And maybe you will and maybe you won't, because it's hit and miss with YouTube on that. And I heard somebody say the other day, on one of their lives, they recommend to people, even if you've hit that before in the past, do it again, because that seems to help connect into it. I don't know. It's been an ongoing problem with YouTube for years now. For years. Yeah. And they don't do anything about it.
Oh, Jethro's T-Mobile.
That's right. T-Mobile. I knew it was right. Okay, so we thought we'd give you a little preview of what we are going to do, where we're going to stay, what our plans are, and then you can compare it to reality. So first of all, I do have here, if I find it, that's not where I want to go. I want to go here, and I don't want to go. There's what I want. Yeah. Okay, so here is a map of the Netherlands, and I'm going to let Walter explain some of this since he's been studying the map like crazy. But we start our adventure in Amsterdam, which is the capital of the Netherlands, of course. And what do we got? 2 nights there?
We have 2 nights there. I didn't want to stay a lot of nights in Amsterdam. We've been there before. And we have a couple of tickets to a couple of major museums, the Rijksmuseum and the Van Gogh Museum.
So the Rembrandts and the Van Goghs.
Right. And they have tons of other museums in there, but, you know, those are the 2 that are kind of stand out. And the last time we were in the Netherlands, the Rijksmuseum was under reconstruction, so very little of it was open. So we went in at, we didn't really see too much. And so so we'll be there. And generally, if you take a trip to the Netherlands and you're on a tour or bus tour or something, you tend to stick to the Amsterdam area, or the area directly north of Amsterdam. So Volendam and Saint-Scans, but we've been there before too. So everything depicted in white on the map is actually below sea level. And it's they've drained the land, and they've got barrier dikes all the way around the country, so the sea doesn't invade the country. So.
And that's what was called Holland.
Right. That white area from between Amsterdam and Gouda and the north part, that was all called North and South Holland. So.
And Gouda isn't said as Gouda, I found out.
It is Gouda.
Yeah. To me, it's Gouda.
Yeah.
It's the cheese. I love a good cheese.
So we'll be staying there for 2 days, and then we're going to go to the city that my parents are from.
Way over here.
And we're going to stay there for 3 days. That might be 1 day too much, but...
That's Zwolle.
Yeah, it's Zwolle. Z-W-O-L-L-E. Yeah, do you swallow?
Do you swallow?
And it is the capital of their province, which is Overijssel. And there's, I can't remember how many provinces there are in the Netherlands. There's about 10 or something like that. 9 or 10, I'm not sure. And but yeah, it's the capital of a province, and we're going to go there. Just because when I used to visit there when I was a kid to visit my grandparents all lived there, and my cousins lived there, and so we're not actually going to visit any relatives
because they're all dead.
Well, any of the ones that I knew are dead, and the ones that are left there are people that I've never met. So, and I don't necessarily want to spend time with people I've never met. So
yeah, well, I mean, the last time we were in Holland, we visited with his aunt and uncle, Riet and Piet,
and my other aunt and uncle.
Yeah, and they all spoke Dutch, and I sat there and smiled a lot, and just hi. Yeah,
because
I
can understand it fairly fluently. I may not know all the modern words, but I can, and I've been brushing up on it before we leave. So
after we've left Zwolle, where are we going?
We're going to Rotterdam.
Down here,
which
Rotterdam.
Is usually their seaport. And that's where a lot of cruise ships, I think, leave from and stuff like that, from Rotterdam, if you go. And It actually was heavily, because it was a seaport, it was heavily bombed during the World War II. And much of Rotterdam is modern buildings and not traditional buildings, because of the fact that most of it was leveled during the war. And but we're using it as a base to travel from, because we'll be visiting the other cities in around that area. And nowhere in Holland is long. Like, it takes an hour to get from Zwolle to Rotterdam, so by train, or an hour and a half, I think, to get from Zwolle to Rotterdam by train. So, like, I mean, everything's pretty close.
It's all
anyway.
pretty close. So from Rotterdam, do we go to Utrecht?
Yeah, well, we'll be in Rotterdam for 5 days, and so we'll be doing day trips to The Hague and to Gouda
Up here.
and to
Gouda.
another area where the windmills are, called Kinderdijk.
That's not
It's
on
not
the map.
on the map. It's actually a little south of Rotterdam. And then our last 3 days will be in Utrecht, which is we're up there, Utrecht, and we will stay there for 3 days and tour around there as well.
Where?
At Utrecht.
At Utrecht, yeah. And then from Utrecht, we're back at Amsterdam, right?
And then our last day, we'll go to Amsterdam, and the last day we'll be staying the night at the airport in Amsterdam.
Yeah. So that gives you a rough idea of where we're traveling around for the 2 weeks we're over there. But as we've mentioned, our traveling here, we are going by train. But before, and I thought I'd show you a picture of what their train system looks like. I got to get out of this. Go down here, and here we go. So this is kind of the train thing that we're going to be on. I guess it's your standard looking train, except that we do intend in most cases to go first class.
However, the train that's depicted here is a double decker, and most of the trains in Holland are single deckers, but they look like that.
Yeah, it looked like that. And I mean, the train system in Holland is like,
if you look at a map of a train system in Holland, it looks like a giant subway map. It is huge, and all the trains travel all over the place.
They go everywhere,
all the time, and they're constantly running, and it's a giant. It looks like a giant subway map. Train. A lot of people take the trains a lot, so it is not a cheap method of transportation there, but it is as opposed to having to take a car. We've decided to do it this way. At first, I thought of renting a car, and we have driven in Holland before, and it is kind of nice because you can go places that the few places that the train doesn't go. And but I didn't want the hassle of driving around. I kind of wanted to enjoy my vacation. So,
well, the other thing is too, in like Amsterdam, you can't drive your car into Amsterdam anymore because it's so busy and so congested.
Yeah, and Utrecht, Rotterdam, you still can drive your car into, but Utrecht, the downtown area, no cars are allowed in there. So you have to take public transportation there. So even if you had a car, you would have to leave the car outside somewhere, outside of the city limits.
And the reason I'm saying that we're going first class is because there's less people in first class.
Yeah, the actual, it sounds really fancy to go first class.
It's not.
But it's not, because the second class and the first class are almost identical except the second class you have blue seats, and first class you have red seats.
Ooh.
And the red seats are a little bit more comfortable than the second class seats, but because it's more expensive, less people take first class.
Yeah.
So I'm all about less people being there.
And it's not that much more money to go the first class. So yeah, we're good for it. I mean, if we'd had a rented car, it was going to cost us a lot for a rented car as well. So,
Yeah, a rented car would have been quite expensive. Not that that's a big problem. But if you want to go, let's say, to Utrecht, you have to leave the car outside of the city center. And you want... I mean, the other option is maybe to rent it for a day or two and go to the places that you want to. But there are very few places that I want to go that I need a car for. So I thought, let's make this a little easier and just do this. And if we get to a day where we think we got a lot of time or something like that, we can always rent a car for a day.
Yeah.
Or something like
or
that.
if it's someplace that the train isn't quite as convenient, we decide we want to go there, we always take an Uber. I mean,
An Uber or something like that.
I have never taken an Uber, so I'm not really sure how it works.
I've got the app set up on my phone. Yeah. Actually, I also have they use another system over there called Bolt, which is also a ride sharing.
Okay. So anyways, now we've had a few people come in while we were talking. Mary's here. Hi, Mary. And Joan Reed is here. Mary says, are you going to Delft? I have some beautiful pieces from Delft.
We may go to Delft.
We may go.
It's sort of on our way to The Hague and stuff like that. We have a couple of pieces of Delft too, but I'm not really into pottery anymore.
Well, no, we don't have, but to be honest, I know no reflection on anybody here. Everybody has their own taste. I'm not a fan of Delft.
I'm not fond of the blue Delft.
No.
There is actually a colored Delft that you can get.
Oh, is there?
It's actually very nice.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, we have a piece.
Do we have a piece?
Yeah.
What piece is that?
It's up in one of our china cabinets upstairs.
Is that the vase?
It's the vase. And it's
okay.
Colored.
Oh, well, I didn't know that was Delft.
Yeah, it is actually Delft.
Well, you
there's
probably
blue
did know,
Delft and there's colored Delft.
Yeah. Oh, well, the colored Delft's kind of interesting, but the other Delft, well, it's all right. It would be interesting, though, to see, if you...
Yeah, I know. Like, I think it would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
We may go there because I have a feeling we'll have lots of time and we will probably end up there. So.
Oh, Gail's here now. Hi, Gail. So anyways, what we thought now is we're going to show you packing. Well, not really done packing yet. Okay, this is the guest bedroom, and this is where I usually lay out all my crap. And it's going to be a little different on this trip than any trip we've taken before when it comes to packing. We don't take a lot of stuff as it is, but we usually have a small suitcase. We're not taking suitcases this time. We're taking backpacks. And we both have, well, you can see, let me move this picture. Okay. This is the size of the backpack. They're actually, Walter did all kinds of research. And he discovered Rick Steves, who is a travel guru. I'm sure you've heard of him. He had a television show many years, and all his videos are on YouTube as well. This is actually his brand. He recommends it, and it's expandable. But the thing is, if it could be taken as a carry-on, but we're not going to have it as a carry-on. We're going to check it.
And it's designed so it can be checked.
Yeah, so the shoulder straps, and all that kind of stuff, they all tuck away into their own little compartment, so you don't have to worry about them getting caught in anything. We have little clip things that are security on the zippers. All of this. Walter's made me very paranoid about this trip because he's watched all these videos about pickpockets and train theft.
I mean, we've blasted through stuff.
Well, we've blasted. We've traveled before with, But anyways, so that means whatever I'm taking, I got to be able to get in this bag. But even though over the years I've taken less and less on every trip, I still have too much stuff. So I'm just going to, you saw the bed, I'm going to throw, tomorrow morning, I'm going to throw all my clothes that I'm going to take, that I think I'm going to take, and everything all out on the bed, and then I'll start packing. And then if it looks like I can't get all that in, I'll start to weed it out and go, do I really need to take that? Now, we have been lucky on the last trips we've been on to Australia. We were able to get places to stay that had washer dryers in them. And so we could space it out. So if we needed to do a laundry, we could do a laundry. Not this time so much, except one of the hotels, there is in its basement or whatever, they do have a laundromat kind of a thing if we find that we need to do that. But, you can always get several days out of a pair of underwear if you turn them inside out and then if we exchange. So, that'll work.
And actually, even when we went to Australia for 3 weeks, but mind you, we had washers and dryers when we were there. and we took a medium-sized suitcase, and I never even filled half of it.
No. Now, the things you're seeing beside that are, we bought these as well. This is a set of cubes that are designed to fit inside of here so you can keep everything organized. I have a set of cubes I use in my suitcase. But I said to Walter, maybe we should buy the ones that are recommended for this, just so, because they're made to fit in that, whereas my other ones might be a little, not quite the right size.
Now, mind you, these backpacks don't look like really fancy brand new ones. They look a bit dated and stuff like that, which is fine because I think they're less
attractive
to thieves. But so
yeah, but there's pockets inside, outside, everything.
Actually,
like
they're quite well thought out.
Yeah, and they've got like the straps for over your shoulders and that are reinforced inside of them with wire. So if someone came up to you, you were in a crowd or something, people pushing against you, and someone had a knife, tried to cut your straps and run off with it, they're going to have to work at it. They're not going to need bolt cutters, and I'm sure we'll see those coming. So yeah, it's got a lot of these safety features built into it. I like the little cubes though. It keeps things organized, and if you've got to open up your bag, for example, you're standing at a train platform and you need something out of the bag or something. And you know, if you've got a suitcase, you got to try and open it up. It may be busy trying to rifle through your stuff. This way, and I always know what's in each one of the bags, I can reach in, grab a little bag, open it, take what I need out, zip it back in, throw it back in, and not everything is falling out all over the place. That's what I like about having these cubes. As I said, I use them all. I've been using them for years when we travel in the suitcases. So same diff here. The other thing we've got, so we will check these when we get to the airport. They're going in the cargo hold. But our carry-on is a smaller backpack. And this one will carry, you know, the essential things you're supposed to keep with you, like my electronics. And I'm not taking a whole lot of electronics, but it will fit my iPad. It'll have my connection cables for, you know, my phone, for the iPad, that kind of stuff. Medications will go in there. And there's enough room to get what I want to take on the plane with me. And this will fit under the seat, because I have another carry-on that I've taken with me for years. It's actually an Air Canada, you know, over-the-shoulder kind of bag. But it's a little bigger than this. And it fits under the seat as well.
But not very well.
But no, I have to squish it down. This is going to go right under, no problem. The reason I don't like using the overhead bins is, one, I'm short. So, you know, give me a step stool to reach up there and get my stuff. The other thing I don't like in this day and age of flying, people don't want to pay the extra money to check their damn bags. And they let them get away with these carry-ons that are basically a suitcase. And so those people, if they're ahead of you in the line getting on the plane for boarding, they're running on there, they're opening it up, they're shoving their bag in, and then when you get to where your seat is, that overhead compartment probably is full. And I don't like having to find a hole to put my stuff in further down on the plane because, you know, I don't know what's going on down there. And people seem to be very emboldened when they get on an aircraft to squish and smash your stuff around as they try to force their oversized bags into those carry-ons. And I really wish the airlines would take a stricter stand on that.
Well, apparently they are.
Well, last flight we took, it did look like they were being a little bit, there were people we saw that were told, you're going to have to check that.
And the new Air Canada rules, we got in under the wire, but the new Air Canada rules are for basic fares. You you have to pay for carry-ons.
Oh yeah.
You're still allowed in under the seat bag. So.
Oh, okay. So, well, I know it's nickel and diming. I would like to think that the reason they're doing that is probably to discourage people from taking those humongous bags on there. So you gotta wait a few minutes for your bag to get off the plane. Adjust your timing, your planning to account for that. What's the big rush? You know, kind of thing. So, yeah, they just drive me nuts. And they don't have one bag either. what they
Yeah, like how we've been in so one time when they started checking bags, we observed a girl there. She had a gigantic carry on that was, I know was for sure, just looking at it, it was bigger than the regulation size, right? And then she had an other backpack that would have been regulation size. And then she had a third bag that was quite large as well, which we would consider her personal carry on. And they ended up making her check
yeah, they
both
made her
both
check
backpacks.
both, which I was really happy to see. Like, get a grip.
And
chick.
she was quite upset
Oh,
that they
that
were
they
going
had
to
to.
do that. But like, I mean, that is, they let that go for far too long
Yeah.
to allow that on there.
So, anyways, that's what I have to get we have to get our stuff all into. We both
Yeah,
have the
and
same setup.
the pack safe one, the smaller bag, is actually a sling bag. It's
Yeah.
not a full backpack. So you only have to carry it on one shoulder, not in two.
Yeah. So, yeah, so this is a little different for us in traveling that we're going that way.
Well, I can give it a try. It's something new.
Yeah. But the other reason we're doing it this way too is because of the trains. I don't want to have to be getting on a train, dragging a suitcase behind me. And also, the trains have overhead bins, right? And our backpacks should fit in the overhead bins fine without any problem. And they'll be close to us because otherwise, if you have suitcases, they always have a little area at one end of the car you're in, and that's where suitcases go. Well, you were telling me today that there's these people that talk about them getting on the train and ripping off your.
Yeah, well, there are people that can steal them, and they say that large suitcases are not usually stolen very often, but they do get stolen once in a while. So,
Well, you pull into a train station, right? But you're not getting off maybe at that station. So the doors open up. You maybe are 4, 5, 6 seats away from where the suitcases are. Somebody casually gets on the train and looks over, grabs a bag that appeals to them, and run off the train, and the door's shut, and you're gone. And they're gone. So, this way we're right by our stuff at all time. And another reason why we're going first class, because we've already said less people, which also means less chance of distractions and things happening and someone trying to get a hold of your bag and that. So that's the theory. We'll see how this works out in practice with it all. I told you, Walter's making me paranoid about this. We've seen all kinds of videos on YouTube about pickpockets. Like, we have been to Europe before. Many times. Many times. We are seasoned travelers. But nevertheless, I think it has something to do with our age. We're just more paranoid than we used to be when we were younger. Maybe because we know more than we did when we were younger. So sometimes innocence is bliss.
I mean, it can't hurt to be safe. So
no. So anyways, that's packing and how we're getting around. So I thought you might be interested in seeing the places we're staying because, of course, Walter has everything booked in advance, as we always do. So, first place we're staying is in Amsterdam. We're staying at the Ibis
Styles. And the reason I picked this hotel, not that it's the nicest looking hotel in the world, but it is very close to the train station. And
Sorry, you said I didn't know they had that. And you say,
I don't think. Turn it off. Anyway, so it's got pretty good reviews. Some people complain that it's noisy, but I think it's noisy anytime, anywhere in Amsterdam. It's pretty close to the train station. And I looked and looked and looked and looked. There's another hotel that we stayed in.
Did we get the hat? Does it come with a hat?
Yeah. There's another place we stayed in that was close to the train station years ago. But it's quite more expensive than this place. But I just decided, okay, this sounds good.
You have to love how they stage the rooms, though, in these shots, right? Because this looks very nice, very comfortable. I have a feeling the room we're in.
I think it's pretty squishy.
Yeah, this makes it look like they're huge. I mean, there was one place you looked at somewhere. It was
It was at the Amsterdam airport. They had we're staying at the Sheraton at the Amsterdam airport, which is a little bit pricier. But there's a cheaper hotel near right at the Amsterdam airport. But the room is so small that the bed goes from one wall to the other wall, right? So the width of the room is the width of the bed. And there isn't a separate bathroom. You have a toilet in the room and you have a shower stall in the room.
They had a curtain. I mean, I like four walls and a door,
and
thank you,
the
and a
bed
washroom.
was shoved right up against the window so that anybody sleeping on the inside part of the bed, right? The length of the bed was against it. So anybody sleeping at the window side of the bed would have to crawl over the person sleeping on the non-window side to get out of bed.
I'll bet you there's been a lot of pregnancies happen that way.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm just ooh, hello. You know, it looks very modern, a little bit minimalist, I guess.
Now these places are built into old buildings.
Yeah.
And renovated.
See, this gives you an idea of how big the room is, you know, like it's not huge.
I'd say it's about the size of a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Maybe a
nice,
little bigger.
nice looking bathroom though.
Yeah.
Very mod. With that. Oh, love the chairs.
Yeah.
Well, there's another shot
but
of the
I figure
bathroom.
it's only 2 nights. We'll
survive. Well, I think it looks, as long as it's clean, I'm not that concerned.
No,
do we have brekkie?
We don't have brekkie here. I decided that
Your brekkie looks good.
I don't know. I didn't want it. The breakfast room looks small.
Oh.
And I didn't think it was worthwhile.
Well, I was looking at the food.
We're only there for 2 days, and I'd like to try and find someplace.
Yeah,
nice
well,
to eat.
I'm sure. Okay, fine. We will do that. We will make sure, though, that we do not go to a coffee shop. There's coffee shops, there's cafes. Coffee shops
sell pot.
Cafes is where you can get food and coffee. So, yeah. I don't think they're breakfast thing. Of course, I know this is staged, but it don't look too bad, but whatever. Ooh, they have machines to do your coffee and everything, and juice machine.
But anyway.
There's little Delft or Delft-like.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's so this doesn't look like too bad a place. Oh, tulips, of course. You have to have tulips.
Would you rather have roses or tulips?
Tulips, so yeah, that's an old joke. Oh, look, in a kids' play area. We don't have any kids. Anyways, it looks kind of interesting. Okay, so that's when we're in Amsterdam. Then we go to what's this one?
In Zwolle.
Oh, this is Zwolle. Okay.
Yeah.
So this gives you an idea of, now again, obviously staged. I don't know. Oh, do we get free champagne?
No, that's.
Now, we've stayed in this place before.
Yeah.
I don't remember our room when we stayed in it before looking that.
But that was a suite that you had a picture of.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
Because the room we had, I don't remember the reception looking like that either. It looks like they've refurbished it.
Yeah, they've refurbished
Of course, that was what, 2004?
Yeah.
Okay, so
over 20 years ago.
Okay, so I guess
this is an established hotel. It's been there even when my parents lived in the Netherlands in the 40s and 50s. So it's been around for a long time.
Oh, okay.
And it's about 2 blocks from the train station.
Because wasn't that the place where it was really hot? They didn't have air conditioning, and which is not unusual in Europe.
They don't have air conditioning now unless you get the executive suite.
But they had mosquitoes. And so we opened the window to get in a bit of air, and in came the mosquitoes because they don't have screens on their windows. So, and of course, you know, like all the mosquitoes came in and went after Walter because he's the
I don't know how
magnet.
it is now, but in Holland, they never had screens on any of the windows. So bugs are us.
Yeah. And Arda has joined us, and so is Charlotte. And Colleen says, I check in one bag. I carry my purse. I take one small bag with my purse to go at my feet. I glare at bags being stuffed into overhead bins as I get my cane in and out, and I'm a rebel. Now I'm going to say something that's going to make Colleen want to hit me with her cane. Yeah, women and on airplanes. My way of thinking is a purse is a bag. a purse and a check-in bag, a carry-on bag, are two bags. Take one or the other. Because a lot of women carry these oversized purses and they get away with it saying it's a purse.
It's a personal item.
It's a personal item. Yeah.
Well, actually, I think they're allowed.
I'm going to start carrying a purse.
Yeah. Anyway.
But anyway, so that was Swalla, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so next is, I think,
Yep.
this is Rotterdam.
Yeah.
And so, like, these pictures are all make everything. Oh, hi, I'm Velma, your virtual assistant. How can I help you? Drop dead,
Yeah,
Velma.
it's a service department that we'll be staying in Rotterdam. So
A service apartment.
yeah, you know, it's sort of like the places we stayed in
Oh, you
Australia.
mean it's got some place where we can cook?
Yeah, it's got a small kitchenette.
It's not showing that in this picture, but that's, I don't have all. I wonder.
Well,
if
is it under gallery
where's gallery?
at the top, next to
Oh,
neighborhood?
okay.
Oh,
Start exploring. Oh, here we.
one bedroom apartment
Where is that? Oh,
next to the lobby.
oh, right here.
Yeah. So that's sort of what we'll be getting.
Nice view. Whoa, they make it look huge.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it's that big.
It's not
It's
that
Holland. It's not that big.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be a one bedroom apartment. So,
Oh,
and
so
it's
there's
got
the
a
area.
a small kitchenette.
Well, that's okay. It must have a fridge. Is that a fridge?
It's probably a little one that's built into that counter.
Looks like no, maybe under that part there or
Yeah.
something, because that looks like a dishwasher, and that's the oven.
Yeah.
On that. Not that we're planning to do a lot of cooking or anything.
No, but it's nice to have
Yeah.
those features. So
That looks nice. There you go, a little closer up. Oh, look. Does she come and cook us meals? Bathroom. Well, you need a bathroom. So, yeah, dishwasher, oven,
yeah, fridge in
cooktop. Where's the fridge?
Fridge
Oh,
in the
fridge
middle.
is in the middle. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't look too bad at all.
It's got really good reviews. So
Okay, so the next place is the Crown Royal. Now, this is,
Crown Plaza.
or Crown Plaza. This is Rotterdam, isn't it? No, wait.
No, it's Utah.
That's Utrecht, yeah.
And it is right on the train station.
But it's also attached to a shopping mall.
Yeah.
You actually have to go through the shopping mall to get into it.
Well, I got our room. That's a corner room.
Yeah. Well, it won't be the room.
It's just a standard Crown Plaza type hotel.
Okay, this doesn't move. Why doesn't this move? Oh, there it does. Oh, look. For those of us that need assistance.
That is obviously a handicap one.
Yeah. They know something we don't about us. Television, the whole bit. Coffee maker. Actually, lots of the rooms come with coffee makers now, and they always have like these like espressos and stuff, which are nice. Well, we used to have we still have an espresso, but it looks comfortable. But of course, this is one. Is this what they consider a suite?
No, I don't think it. I think it's 2 beds.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyways, all right. So that's Rotterdam. And this is at the airport in Amsterdam. It's the Sheraton and rooms.
Just standard rooms.
Yeah. Well, by that time we just want to go home.
I should have pulled up that one that's in the airport that had the beds that went right across the wall.
Oh, yeah. So there's some more of it. So what we've got, is it just one night? Yeah, it's just one night. So basically at that point we'll be like
ready to go.
Ready to come home. Yeah.
I mean, the Amsterdam airport will be right across from the entrance hall to the Amsterdam airport on our last night. So we can check into the hotel. If we have time, we could actually take a quick trip into Amsterdam because it's a 15-minute train ride to Amsterdam. So I thought I like staying in a hotel the night before we go, because then we don't have to worry about getting to the airport that day or something like that. We're there, we can get our rest and just pack up and
So when's
go.
our flight go out from Amsterdam to come home?
It's 12:15 in the 12 noon.
Noon. Oh, okay. Oh, that's a decent time
Yeah,
for it. And then we'll get back here, what, at our time?
about 4 o'clock. Rush hour.
Rush hour. Oh, well, yeah, but we've got the limo. So, anyways, Sue says, I always make sure my travel purse fits inside my carry-on. Oh, okay. Vicky says, I do envy all of you young folks who can still travel. I think the only two countries I would like to go to would be Canada and Italy, Rome. Canada, okay. Italy, we've been to Italy several times.
I like it.
And I like Italy too, but there, you know, the old saying is, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. It is very true. It actually sums up the mentality of traveling in Italy. You don't want to be in a hurry for anything. You don't want to insist upon having something the way you want it. You just have to go with the flow, because the Italians, they don't care. They will tell you what you're going to have. It's kind of like the French in Paris, you know, poo-poo. But yeah, as long as you're prepared for that, Italy is
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, I like it.
I like
I think
Italy.
it's very picturesque.
Yep.
There's a lot of interesting things to see.
Yeah.
If you're in Rome, you can go to, we're not religious or anything, but
But you can go to the
the
Vatican.
Vatican is very nice to see.
Yeah, it's well, you
And,
have to. If you've
yeah,
never been to Rome before,
and-
you have to go to the Vatican.
And St. Peter's, is it St. Peter's?
St.
Basilica?
Peter's, yeah, St. Peter's Basilica, and of course the Sistine Chapel,
Yeah.
and the museum that's there, the Vatican
and
Museum.
the Colosseum and all the other stuff.
Oh yeah,
that's
there's so much history
and
so much to see.
actually, if you can walk, depending on how old
Yeah.
you are or whatever, that stuff's all concentrated in a fairly
Yeah, in a
central
fairly
area.
central area. So getting around, as long as you can walk okay, is, you know, not a problem. If you can't, if you have to have a wheelchair or a walker or something like that, might not be too good.
Yeah, and I don't know, when we haven't been in Italy in a long time, but it used to be that if you just want to get a taxi that goes a few blocks, they'll look at you and say, no, that's too close.
Vicky says she would like to meet our new pope. Not important to me.
No.
No, I just think he's a man in a dress. I'm sorry. I've probably, just anybody who's Catholic, I've probably offended you, but guess what? If you're Catholic, you offend me.
Well, I doubt you'd be able to meet the new pope anyway.
Yeah, no, it's not taking private audiences right now. I don't know. Your people would have to call his people, do lunch. I don't know. And after J.D. Vance insulted him, who knows what it's like. Of
That's
course,
the
that
dead
was the
pope.
old one. He's dead. J.D. Vance killed him. Yeah, but we're not going to get political today. Okay, so you've seen where we're staying. We've seen what we're packing and things like that. So what sites are we going to see, Walter? Now, Walter is my travel agent. I have no idea what we're doing one day to the next. Okay.
I have a general idea.
I just get up in the morning and go, so where are we going? And I get told and I go. So, and I'm quite okay with that. All right. So what are we, so our first day in Amsterdam, you've got tickets to the 2 art galleries.
No, not the first day.
Oh, okay.
We've got it the second day, because I always figure I like to have a buffer in case our flights are late and
yeah.
stuff like that. So, and we'll be tired the first day.
Yeah.
So it's a free for all. We'll just walk around and look around and do stuff that day. Maybe take a canal cruise if we want to do that, or something like that, right? First day. And then see how long it takes before we get too tired.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we've got tickets to the 2 museums, Rijksmuseum and the Van Gogh Museum. And again, we'll look around some more and tour around a bit more that day, mainly in the center of Amsterdam. And then the next day, we'll take our train out to Zwolle, where my parents came from. And we'll probably walk around a bit that day.
Now there's a market in Zwolle, right?
Yeah, on weekends, on Fridays and Saturdays. So the day we'll be there when we arrive, it'll be a Thursday. So on Friday mornings and Saturday mornings, they have a market, and they sell like it'll be like fruits and vegetables and all the other stuff, but they have like lots of goods, and it's like a flea market, lots of
Yeah.
goods and things like that that they sell at this market, if it's still as traditional as it used to be. And it's a big thing. They have the market on Fridays and
Now,
Saturdays.
didn't you say they had textiles or something?
That's in Utrecht.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
textile market, but there is a very good chance that they will be selling textiles at, from what I remember when I was a kid and that when we went there. They used to have all kinds of things that you could buy at the market. So there is a good chance that they'll be selling textiles.
We'll
there,
talk
too.
more about the textiles and about quilts things and our plans for that in a moment. But just in general, I'm trying to get a sense of what we're going to do. So we're in Swallow for how long? 3 days?
3 days, yeah.
3 days. So, and didn't you say if we get bored with Swallow, it's not that far to go to something
like,
else?
I mean, if we don't want to hang around Zwolle for the Saturday, we could go to, there is a great big palace that's not that far away from Zwolle. It's about an hour away by train. And it's called Palace Het Loo. And I had thought, well, if we're bored on the Saturday, we think we've done Zwolle enough, that we could take a train out there and go to that palace. But I mean, if it's kind of a hit and miss.
Well, what about the nightlife? What about the discos? I mean, I want to dance until 3 a.m. Yeah, that's not happening.
But if we find that we're just tired and we just want to stay there and don't bother with it, then we'll just stay there and do that. So
go to a nice little cafe, have a espresso.
I mean, it would end up being the Palace at Toulouse is in another city called Apeldoorn, and a friend of my parents used to live. Came from that area, so I mean, it might be nice to see another town as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Isn't there a tower, an old tower in Swallow? We went up, didn't we?
We didn't. I don't think we went up it.
I thought there was something. It was spiral. It was on like a ramp, and we wound around, and I thought we went up.
Oh, I don't recall doing that.
I'm pretty sure we did.
I did with my dad when I was a little kid.
Well, I think we did that when we were there.
Oh, well, there is
time.
one. It's called the Pepper Bus.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of the cities in Netherlands have a central church or a central tower, usually a clock tower, and so you can a lot of these places you can walk up, and there's usually concrete steps down up the center that's like about 300 or 400
Except
steps.
I remember this one was like ramps. It was spiral.
I don't think so.
I think it was.
I think you're confusing it with.
Well, there were steps, but it was like a ramp and a few
I think
steps.
you're accusing. I think you're remembering the one we used to go up in Provincetown.
No.
Okay.
No. I'm pretty sure.
I don't recall going up that one, but anyway.
Well, I guess you didn't fully heal when you fell over the edge. Hit your head on this pavement down below.
So a lot of the older cities in the Netherlands were built as forts, and so they'll have a canal that goes all the way around, and they have walls. They're walled cities. So Zwolle is one of them.
I remember Zwolle being very sleepy.
Yeah, it is. It's not. There isn't a lot going on there, so
yeah.
That's why I said we might get bored.
Now, they just, though, had a big celebration in Zwolle marking the 80 years since the Canadians liberated the Dutch from the Second World War. That kind of thing. We're making sure that people know we're Canadian. We have got Canadian flag luggage tags on our stuff and everything. Because, right now, in the political climate in this world, it's good to be a Canadian when you're traveling over to Europe. And, they can't necessarily distinguish between our accent and an American accent. So
then, so after we leave Zwolle, we'll go to Rotterdam for 5 days. And the first day we arrive at Rotterdam, we'll walk around. They have something called the Market Hall, which is I think we discussed this before. It's actually a condo that's shaped like a barn, basically, and all the outside of it is the condo. Even at the top, the roof is the condo.
And there's windows out
There's windows
from
that
people's
look down
condos looking down to this central
into the
part.
central courtyard, and in the central courtyard is like places to eat, like like in the shopping
Food
mall
court.
type food court, right? But it's very big inside, and they have all different kinds of places that you can eat. And then around the outsides, there's restaurants that you can eat in as well. So we might go take a look down there, and down around that area, they have something called the cube houses as well,
Yeah.
which are famous in Rotterdam, that are very modernistic and things like that.
They were designed by some famous architect at one time. It was sort of experimental living.
Yeah.
Everything's sort of they're cube, but they're on a point, and they all sort of come together. They're weird looking.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So then that would be the 18th that we arrive in Rotterdam.
And then we've got 5 days in Rotterdam.
Yeah. And then on the 19th, how did you end up in Canada from the Netherlands? Oh, I was born in Canada. My parents immigrated from the Netherlands in 1954. And my two sisters were born in the Netherlands. And I was born in 1958 in Canada. So that's how I ended up in Canada.
So yeah, he's Canadian, but with Dutch roots.
Yeah. So because
Only
all my relatives and my grandparents and everything else are over in Holland. I have no relatives that live in Canada. I just other than my sister. So my other sister passed away. So anyway.
So Rotterdam. So if we get bored in Rotterdam,
on the Monday of Rotterdam,
Yeah.
we have tickets to go to Kinderdijk.
Okay, and Kinderdijk is the children's dike.
Well, that's what the translation is.
Kinder,
But
kindergarten.
it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site that has several original style windmills that you can go visit, and it's basically like almost an outdoor museum that has all the older windmills. And to get there from Rotterdam, you have to take a water bus. So it's about a 20-minute ride on the water bus to get to this location. So I've pre-purchased tickets for the water bus and entrance to Kinderdijk. Then hopefully it won't rain on Monday. But we'll have to take umbrellas or whatever.
Will melt.
If it does. It's a long range forecast says it doesn't rain, but all things go. Then on the Tuesday and the Wednesday, I want to go to The Hague and a seaside resort called Scheveningen, and I figured on taking up to 2 days to do that. And in those 2 days, we may be able to make a side trip to Delft, because you actually, to get to The Hague, you end up going through Delft. So you could probably just stop on the way back and go to Delft too. So, and then on the Thursday that we're there, I'd like to go to Gouda or Gouda or whatever.
We want the cheese.
Gouda
cheese is Gouda.
In the morning, they have the cheese market where they sell cheese.
Well, other things too, but
yeah, and I guess they put on a display that they have the big wheels of cheese and stuff like that. So I think
no, we're not bringing home a wheel of cheese.
So that's Thursday, and then the Friday we're going to Utrecht.
Utrecht.
And in Utrecht, there's quite a few things to see in Utrecht, and they have the Dom Tower.
Oh.
And they have in Utrecht they have a museum for musical clocks and things like that.
Oh yeah, the one we saw in the thing. That looks really interesting.
And calliopes and things like that. So, and then we're going to there is a fabric store in there, I think, as well in Utrecht. And on Saturday morning in Utrecht, they have a textile market, which we should be going to as well.
Yeah. So then after we're done with Utrecht, that's when we go back to Amsterdam
and on our way back.
Okay.
So there's lots of things to do.
Yeah. Now, people have asked us about I gotta find it here. I've got a picture. Yeah, about quilt stores. We're not really sure. We're not going to go out of our way to go to quilt stores because I've kind of figured that unless we saw something that was definitely very unique and I liked it and I can't get it anywhere but in Holland, then yeah, maybe. But here is a list of a few quilt stores in the Amsterdam area. I have no idea how far they are away from where we'll be, and we don't have that much time anyways, but I thought I'd give you a little.
Okay, this one, the Vermeer, it's actually not too far from our hotel.
It's in this cute little building.
Yeah.
And of course, these are stage pictures, but they
Yeah.
look like they've got some interesting things here.
And if you notice, they're only open Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah,
So-
they're only open.
Now, we're only in Amsterdam for 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, so we may be able to make it into that one.
Yeah. I have noticed that anytime I was looking up websites for these places, they don't
Okay, so-
they don't really have
Okay,
an online presence for buying.
okay. Now, what they've said in here, slide up
Oh,
there.
they have a web shop there.
They say that they carry Dutch heritage fabric, reproduction fabric, books, notions, and
And Kususu's.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, but they do have a web shop. It says here, so let's just take a look. Welcome to the web shop. Oh, okay. So here you can see some of their Dutch heritage fabrics. Ooh.
See, it's a lot of flowery stuff,
Ooh.
which isn't really my style.
No, old lady.
Yeah.
Ooh. Don't like those. Background fabrics. No big deal.
Yeah.
Pin dots.
That's tiny pins.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's kind of
Yeah.
not bad. But I mean, that's stuff I can
Yeah.
get, like here, antique textiles, French Indies. Yeah, so you definitely have to look at these things
In person.
In person, yeah. So that was one of the stores. There's something called whatever that is.
Petra Prints. That's a quilt store as well. That's actually in an area that we can walk to as well.
Oh yeah.
They
So
have pictures of the store.
they're only open Wednesdays to Friday
Yeah,
and
again.
Saturday. Yeah. And they have a web shop. But these companies all related to each other?
No, I think that's just the way they do things, right?
What's a stuff package?
That's boxes and pre-packed items, I guess.
Stolfen?
Stuff is fabric.
Oh, okay. Cargo, Dashwood. See, Free
They're
Spirit.
from Australia.
And from Australia. See, this is what I'm saying.
Liberty of London,
Yeah,
Japanese.
Moda. This is stuff we can get here.
Yeah,
So-
Tilda.
Yeah. And there was another one in Amsterdam.
Yeah, this one is more of a, it's a little bit further out. It has more like, from what I gather, more stuff for when you're sewing clothing. Like they have buttons and
Ooh, look at that.
buttons.
Rainbow quilted fabric.
Yeah.
Ooh. Cotton prints. Okay.
yeah.
Well, they're not really. They're just.
I wouldn't get anything that doesn't look unique.
Yeah.
And I don't want to drag that stuff away around with me.
They have.
I mean,
a
I might
lot
get
of stuff.
buttons if they're unique.
Buttons. Who got the buttons? Looks like they have a lot of this, that, and everything.
Yeah.
They're more general fabric,
Yeah.
haberdashery kind
Yeah.
of place. Well, I just looked at those. I looked in a few of the other places too, but they're all kind of the same. I mean, really, you have to go in and see. But we're not going to make a special. Or if it's on our way, if we think it's worth it, we will go in and take a look. But
It's not a priority that much, and we will have limited space in our suitcase. So
yeah. So let's see. A few people have made some comments here. Let's see. And, oh, what Russ says, you're not going to I Love Lucy some cheese back? No. Vicky says, will the tulips be in bloom when you go?
No, they'll be gone but they should be gone by time we arrive, because Kukenhof, which is the big place to go see the flowers, it's a, what do you call it?
It's fields of flowers.
No, not fields of flowers. It is actually like where you go.
Sounds like
a garden where you go see flowers.
a garden.
Like a
Oh, you mean a botanical garden?
botanical garden. Yeah.
Okay, that took a lot to get that out,
Yeah, a
didn't it?
botanical garden, but it's all tulips, right? And they're designed and put stuff. It's only open from I think the beginning of May or beginning of April to the 11th of May, and then it shuts.
Okay,
So we're just after the thing.
so today it shut.
Yeah, it shut, right? You can't go there anymore.
Yeah.
And the tulip fields that are there, by this time, they will have plowed them under. Because they don't let the flowers bloom too long, because it doesn't develop the tulip bulbs properly.
So Faith is asking a question here, which leads us into food. We're going to talk about in a second. But
However, I did look at going at a time where we could go to see all that, the tulips and stuff. But that is the time it is super busy there, because everybody wants to go see that, right? And the hotels are 3 times more expensive.
and it's
during that
crowded,
time, and it's super crowded. And I said, I can skip tulips.
And if you want to see tulips closer to home, go this time of the year to Ottawa.
Yeah.
Because there are tons of tulips in Ottawa, because the Dutch keep sending them to us, thanking us for the liberation of the Netherlands at the Second World War 80 years ago.
Everybody keeps asking me, are you going to see the tulips? No, I'm not going to see the tulips. I'm going to see the Dutch and the dykes.
Oh, you know about the little Dutch boy story, had his finger in the dike. Neither one were enjoying it. So, had to be said. Faith says, so what about a good wine, or what are the beverages?
Dutch is usually beer or Geneva. Geneva is Dutch gin, which I kind of want to try, because my dad used to drink it all the time, and I never had it when I was younger. And I wouldn't mind trying some this time, but I doubt I'll like it.
Well, they have places in Holland, well, in Amsterdam anyways, but probably in other places. They call them brown cafes. And basically they're pubs.
Right.
And that's where you can get it's where a lot of people go. Some are kind of touristy, but most of them are small little places that have been around for hundreds of years and are a little bit more relaxed. They may or may not serve full meals, but they probably have snacks, pub food, like bitterballs.
They have snacks. They call them hapjes in Dutch. Hapjes. So,
I can't
which is snacks. And Holland doesn't produce wine. As far as I know,
they don't make wine out of tulips?
No, as far as I know, first of all, the ground's too wet. And the other thing, so they would have European wines, I'm sure, like French wines or things like that.
I'm sure you can get wines to that.
But yeah, they usually have beer, Heineken, Grolsch beer.
I've Grolsch beer before.
Yeah.
With it, but whatever. Yeah. So I'm sure we will find something to drink. We're not going for the booze kind of thing, but we will. Yes, we will. And this gin thing, have to try that, I guess.
It's Geneva.
But there's some other foods that we want to try when we're there. Now, I just mentioned something called bitterballs, which are, you explain what they are.
Bitterballs are deep fried balls with breading on the outside. And inside is like a ragu. It's like a
paste of meat.
Of
flour and spices.
And sort of like a meat pie inside, if you want to call it that. It has
How
a
much do you buy?
savory flavoring inside. And you can usually get them in veal, beef, sometimes chicken. Chicken isn't very traditional, but anyway, beef
And they deep fry them.
and they deep fried them, and they're little round balls. And you can also get longer versions of them, and they call croquettes. And they are exactly the same as the beer balls, only
They're
they're
longer.
longer.
They're like two
And
balls stuck together.
then I guess you can. These are newer things you can get different that I wasn't aware of. You can get something called freaking down.
Who?
Freaking down, which is a type of sausage. You can get deep fried Gouda cheese,
Ooh,
and you can get
that might be Gouda.
you can get these things. The Dutch has a very strong tie to Indonesia because Indonesia is a Dutch colony. And so they have a lot of Indonesian type foods that you can get there. And you can actually get these deep fried items that are an Indonesian dish that they've breaded and deep fried. So
The bitter balls and the croquettes usually traditionally you serve them with mustard, with grain mustard. We eat them here.
yeah.
We have a Dutch bakery not too far from us, and anytime we're in there we usually pick up some of those, and they're already pre-cooked. You just need to heat them up,
Yeah.
put them in the freezer, kind of a thing. So yeah,
I technically can I know how to make them as well. So
Yeah.
but I haven't made them in a long time.
and now they do have some other things though that I want to try, and one of them is sort of a version of poutine. I forget what is it.
They call it cup salon.
Cup salon, and basically it's French fries as a base with what's on it. It's
I think it's meat or ragu or hamburger. I'm not sure exactly.
and
what it
then
is.
they put all this other stuff on it, and on top of it all they put a salad.
Yeah.
So I said, it's like a whole meal in one dish. You start with a salad, you start with the main course, and all they need to do is put ice cream on the bottom of it, and you've got a full meal. With
Yeah,
that.
and there's fries are popular, pancakes are popular.
Dutch pancakes. I have to have. They have little ones. Like a Dutch pancake fits a dinner plate.
Yeah.
And they're different from what we have here as pancakes. And it's hard. It's sort of like if you've ever had a
It's like a thick crepe.
yeah, kind of a thing.
It's not fluffy like our pancakes.
No.
Right? The pancakes that they serve in North America, if you pour syrup on them, the syrup soaks into the pancakes. Here, the Dutch pancakes, the syrup sits on top of them. They don't soak in.
Yeah, they're a little crispier in a way, but they serve them like this is all the thing over there. They go in and get them, and they serve them like you can get Nutella on them and fruit on them and whipped
Yeah, you
cream
can
and
get
all kinds of different things.
and
Toppings
you can
for
get them as a savory version with ham and like cheese and stuff, or you can get it as the more traditional ones are served as sweet. So usually it's like powdered sugar and butter or something like that.
And then, of course, like Walter said, they do have a lot of Indonesian foods as well.
And
there-
fish.
And fish. And Walter wants. I
I'm
can't
gonna
even
try
say it.
the Dutch herring. So which is served usually with
Raw.
raw onions.
And it's raw. The herring is raw.
No, it's not raw.
They said that on the.
It's raw herring that they brine.
Well, okay, they pickled it.
Yeah, and then
Pickled herring, but
so and then
Sounds
if
disgusting.
I recall, it is quite fishy.
Dutch sushi. Ugh.
And they serve it with raw onions, and I guess now they serve it with pickles. I never knew it when I was a kid to serve it with pickles.
I'll just order
And
it
then-
and hold the herring. Give me the onions and the pickles.
Then they can have a version of fish and chips where you can get where they have small pieces of fish, and deep fried, and you can get that. And then there's very small, tiny pancakes that you can get called poffertjes,
Yeah, I want to try those.
which are like little tiny pancakes, and they are often served with powdered sugar and butter.
Mhm.
Or you can get them with Nutella and bananas,
Yeah,
and
yum, yum.
strawberries. And...
Yum yum. It's yum yum. Sounds like
Oh,
yum, yum.
and stroopwafels.
Oh yeah, stroopwafels, which are little wafer kind of
they're-
cakey thing.
Waffle
Cookie.
with biscuits with waffle biscuits with syrup in between them.
Yeah, We can get those here too, but over there they've got different varieties, and they look like they might be, well, big. Some of them are big.
Well, actually, you can get them made fresh there,
Yeah.
whereas here you can only buy the pre-made ones. So.
Yeah. Marjan loves pickled herring. Terry says, are they like silver dollar pancakes?
Sort of.
Sort of, except they're a Dutch pancake, and like we were saying before, Dutch pancakes are a little bit different than what we're used to here. With it, it's hard to describe them. The closest I can say is, have you ever had a beaver tail? For Americans, that might be a bear claw.
Or was it an elephant ear?
Or elephant ear, yeah, or something like that. They're kind of like that.
They're actually, what it is pancakes in North America are usually have baking powder in them, so they rise. And Dutch pancakes have no baking powder in them. So they're milk, flour, and eggs.
Yeah, I tried to make them once, and there's a video of it from about 2 or 3 years ago. That was an unintended comedy, apparently, because I didn't. Walter's made them.
They're not spongy.
But I
They're
don't make them.
they're kind of tough, actually, if you want to look at them. They're not.
Yeah, they're a little bit rubbery.
Rubbery, yeah.
Kind of, but they're very good.
I mean, it's a different texture.
Yeah, it's something a little different. So yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to trying the.
Lots of different things to eat.
Yeah, different foods that they have there.
And none of them are low carb, and none of them are
like
probably good for my diet. But
like I care? No, about that? No, not at all. Barb says that video was very funny. Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be when I made it. But anyways, yeah. So that's our plans. So, yeah. So watch for whatever we're able to put over the airwaves when we're over there. So we'll show you some of these things we've been talking about up front and in personal kind of this way. And yeah, 2 weeks away, and then we come back and it's new. And then we have other adventures too. This summer is not going to be over when we come back, because a month and a half later, we're off to London, England, and Birmingham for the quilt show. So another adventure this year. This is the year of adventure. Or escape from North America is probably a better way to put it, because don't we all want to escape? But anyways, so thanks for joining us today, everybody, and I hope all of you mothers out there have a good Mother's Day, and we'll see you guys soon, maybe from Holland. So have a good week. Be good while we're gone. Don't do anything we wouldn't do. Pretty much leaves it wide open. Okay. So thanks, guys, and everybody, and see you later. So bye for now.
Bye for now.